So we're now moving to Natalia Alvarez Amado from Chile. She's a chemist, a radical feminist video maker and activist, and a member of FRESA. So Natalia, will you tell us about the FRESA, the background and work of FRESA, and also how gender ideology affects your struggle for women's rights in Chile and internationally, what you're working on now, and any plans for the future?
Fresa in Spanish means strawberry, but it's an acronym. Feministas Radicales en Santiago, in English, Radical Feminist in Santiago. So our symbol is a strawberry cut in half, and it resembles a vulva. What do we do? We exist since late 2018, but a lot of us knew each other before that in university. We primarily do diffusion work. We have a website, fresachile.org, where we upload our text and various things. You can see it's in Spanish, of course, and maybe Google Translate can help. Recently, we did an interview with Carol Hanitz, one of the, is considered a founder of radical feminism because she wrote an essay called "The Personal is Political." And we asked her about her views of the actual feminist context. She talked about the term TERF and her view about the change of the sex category to gender category in analysis. And we think that's very important because, at least in LATAM discussion, we face some women and girls saying, I'm a rad fem, but I'm not a TERF. Like, they are two separate things, and that's come from ignorance. So it's very important that one woman who is considered one of the founders of radical feminism is saying that's bullshit, basically. Okay. About gender ideology, we here in Chile have a trans law, which is based on self-ID. It was it came very fast. It took a little time to make the law, like very quickly. A couple of years, I think, very little discussion, not any in the public, like there was not a thorough discussion on all society. Like I said, is self-ID, just you go, you say you're one sex or another, and the law changes, and it has the power to end marriages, because in Chile there is no legal homosexual marriage. So if a heterosexual marriage, one of the two people change their gender, the marriage it's over. And that doesn't make any sense. It's horrible. Also, I have a few recent examples of how this ideology is affecting feminism and women. Like recently, there was a femicide of a lesbian, but she self-ID as a trans man. So the public on the internet, people on the internet were saying this was not a femicide because she identifies as a man. And they were more preoccupied by telling people on the internet to not misgender her instead of the actual murder. Like she was a lesbian and was murdered by the ex-boyfriend of her current girlfriend. And people were more preoccupied to say, please don't misgender her. Like the priorities are not very well put. Another example is another femicide. This was very recent on December. The femicide of Maria Isabel Paves. There was a rumor, I don't know where it came from, but there was a rumor that her murderer was trans. And people were saying the same kind of stuff, like she might be a murderer, but we still have to respect her identity. And some women were deleting their previous post because they referred him as a man. But in the end, it was just a rumor. He was not trans. He was just otaku, and there was a confusion. He's on the loose, by the way, and he already had murdered a woman in Mexico several years ago, and he escaped to Chile. So there is a great probability that he goes to another country and the police can catch him. Another recent example, there is a Chilean singer very popular in all Latin America, Mon Laferte. She was about to do a concert for free with a group of women where there is moms of victims of femicide. But this group of women were radical feminist friendly and have in the past posted some critics to the word cis, like cisgender, cissexual. So people on the internet were posting about transphobia of these women and pushing Mon Laferte, the singer, to not collaborate with these women. And it was horrible because this was an actual act of help to those mothers who have lost their daughters. And many examples like that all the time. And we don't see a very hopeful future, I think, in Chile and in Latin America. We have not reached the peak of identity politics, but we are going there. I think the main difference is that feminist groups or radical feminist groups are made from very young girls. In Latin America, I think most of rad femmes are teenage girls. And the older ones are like my age, I'm 27. And nobody listens to teenagers. And they are not very organized either. And we don't have a presence on official politics. I don't know if it is the correct term. It's very difficult to push an agenda. Here in Chile, we are living a process of a change of a constitution who was created during dictatorship. And it is the first constitution in the world who will be redacted by a gender 50-50. The redactors are going to be half men and half women. First constitution in the world. But that doesn't give us any guarantees because we don't have any women who can represent these ideas. I mean, the women who are in politics are either left, right, o sea, are from the right, conservatives, or from the left who which embrace queer ideology, gender identity ideology. So we don't have much representation. And as FRESA, we are doing a little research and we are going to do a little presentation live about this topic on our YouTube channel. We have been doing a research about the importance of specifying women rights in constitution. And so far, it is important to specify, like the word woman being there, like not saying equals opportunities, equal rights for everyone, but specifying that women are a group that are submitted to a specific type of violence in the constitution. But here arises another problem, because one law says woman is anyone who says that they are a woman. So I'm going to explain with example. Recently in Argentina, abortion was legalized. But the law said pregnant person. Why? Because identity law says woman is anyone who identifies as a woman. So if a woman, a female, a biological woman, goes pregnant, but she identifies as a man, if the law of abortion says woman, they can deny her abortion. So the law says pregnant person, because laws can't contradict. So here is a push for women's rights, and there is another push for identity politics. And there is no woman saying these things in these political decision-making spaces. More so, there are two trans-identified males who are running for being one of the persons who redact this new constitution. And they are, if they are elected, they are going to use one of the spots for women, because it's 50-50. So we hope they don't get elected, but we don't know. And these two people in the past have emitted certain very violent comments toward us, towards FRESA in particular, comparing us to neo-Nazi groups. So yeah, it's a very tough scenario, but we have faith that these new generations of rad femmes, they are getting educated. We try to be, the older one of us are trying to be an example. There are very few of us who show our face and our name publicly, but the one of us who does are very important, because these teenage girls, 15, even younger, are seeing these women, and it's kind of support. It's a very important support for them. They are not alone.
Question I have is, what are the next steps for your organization and for feminists, or your sort of feminists you're in touch with in Chile? What are your plans for the next couple of years?
Well, before quarantine, we did many things, like we gather in parks and invite women to read radical feminist theory and then discuss. We went to protest. We vandalized prostitution related places, like with paint, and we did various direct action. But since quarantine, we have been a little less active, but we have many ideas, like have this YouTube channel. It still haven't, there is still no video in the YouTube channel, but we want to give it more content. also do more audiovisual work, because these younger generations are not very are not very reading people. Like there is this, and I think it's generational, like easy, fast information that it is already there, and you don't have to do much to learn about this topic. So we are adapting to these new trends, like making videos, making easy information that it is easy to read, uh, because there are so much ignorance, because these kids, these teenagers learn on Twitter posts, TikTok posts, like they don't go and read a book about feminist theory. So there is a lot of ignorance. Now there is a group of queer teenagers saying that the term female, or in Spanish, hembra humana, like human female, is racist. Like it is a racist term. And we ask why? And they say because that was they call black women back then, and that's not true. Like what the fuck?